Welcome to this top 5 Total War video, and I've decided I actually want to take these in a different direction. I want to focus more on the player, rather than the actual factions and stuff. So this is going to be top 5 mistakes that new players make when playing Total War. Some of these mistakes are running everywhere on the map and getting exhausted but not knowing that that's not a good idea. Playing Medieval 2 Total War and constantly getting excommunicated, which is something that happened to me quite a lot before I actually realised, how to work around the Pope and stuff like that. So it's stuff like this. Both of those they haven't made it onto this list, but I think they're good examples of some quite frequent mistakes. Okay, in 5th place to start this one off, very simple one, and it was said by Avazef as well, auto-managing their settlements. When you have the auto-manage on and you don't actually do it yourself. I actually think I set this option on with my first campaign Let's Play for Rome Total War, and yeah, it just takes away all the fun, and it doesn't even work right. I was going to actually do a campaign where auto-managing is already set on, and that's the challenge of it, and I got to work with what I've got, but it just didn't recruit troops for me. It just didn't work. So yeah, it's really stupid to have on, and it's definitely something new players set up. So if you're a new player to the Rome Total War or Medieval 2 Total War, just manage your settlement yourself, trust me. In 4th place, this one is for a very particular game, Attila Total War, and it's settling too early in the campaign. So if you're playing as a horde faction such as, I don't know, the Ostrogoths or the Vandals or whatever, and you settle too early on in the campaign and you get surrounded, big mistake. It's usually better to put a lot of care into your homeland, not just settle into the first place that you actually end up putting under siege, and make sure you're far away from the Huns as well to start off your new kingdom. You don't want to be close to them. In 3rd place is to do with the economy, and it's about what you need to build. Basically, build orders and stuff like that. My advice is always this, for Rome Total War anyway, build a port first, right? For Medieval 2 Total War, it's build farms first. Just basic stuff like that. And when you see people starting their first campaigns as the Julii, and the first thing they build is stone walls, or stuff like that, or I don't know, they build a market on an island, or roads on an island. Sometimes they do have, some purposes at times, but for the most part, not knowing what to build is a mistake a lot of players make. But it's an understandable mistake. You're not going to go in and know the build orders. And yeah, I'm labelling a lot of these as mistakes, but I actually personally see them more as just a learning path. These are mistakes we all make. Legend of Total War would have done all of these mistakes at one point when he was new to the game. So yeah, I'm calling them mistakes, but they're acceptable mistakes. We all make them, and yeah, of course, if you make these mistakes too, don't think you're a bad player or a new player. It's just part of learning how to play. In 2nd place, I agree with Brumac here. Not using magic or using wrong spells for the Warhammer Total War series. And yeah, there's this, you've got, of course, your big beast type of monster things. I don't play much of Warhammer, but I played enough where I can actually talk about it now. And just not taking advantage of the special abilities, which Brumac is suggesting here. But this goes for all Total War titles, the old ones where you blow the trumpet thing, which boosts morale. Blowing that too early or at the wrong time, is a bit of a waste. And in Attila Total War, using those special abilities at the wrong time as well. Not using the formations correctly. Stuff like that. Definitely in 2nd place. And here is the biggest one. And this definitely made it onto This was always going to be high up on the list, and I was quite certain from the start this was going to make it into first place. The biggest mistake new players make, and this is having overly large garrisons inside of settlements where they're not needed. For example, let's say you play Medieval 2 Total War, you own most of Europe, and you have a large garrison in, I don't know, Paris, of expensive knights. What's the point in that? If they're not on the front line, then the units will have to be cheap. Like, just have peasants as garrisons, or sometimes you can have some, you know, like, slightly more expensive unit there just for the sake of, like, saving the player time rather than having to disband them and retrain. Sometimes you might not want to do that. So some, like, overly large garrisons are okay at times, but at other times it's just, some players take it a little bit too far. So if you've ever seen Legend of Total War's Saving Your Disaster campaigns, one of the most frequent mistakes that players do make in those is actually to just have those large garrisons in pointless settlements. And it's one that he always brings up, it's one that's always clear with new players. And again, it's a mistake I've made, it's a mistake you've made, it's a mistake that the pro players now have made when they had their first games. It's just something we all do. Now, I do have one which should have been on this list, but you can tell by me laughing that it's not a serious one. Buying the wrong Total War game. For example, like, if your first Total War game is Thrones of Britannia or Three Kingdoms Total War, nothing like Super against Three Kingdoms Total War, but that one, those two should not be your first. I know the graphics are not as good on the older ones, but trust me, buy Rome Total War or Medieval 2 Total War first. Just trust me. You can trust me on that one. Yeah, because they're just so much better, and they're better to learn it from. They're a good base for Total War, and I do advise that if you're new and wanting to get into Total War, start with the older titles, Rome 1 and Medieval 2, or at least Napoleon Total War, I guess, or Shogun 2 Total War. I guess those are fine as well. But yes. But of course, there's nothing wrong with like starting with the Warhammer series or whatever. It's just my advice: how you'll get the most fun out of a franchise is to start with the older stuff. Of course, as always, I ask for your opinions on this sort of stuff. This usually happens in my Discord, so of course, please do join my Discord if you do want to post some top 5 opinions in here. I'll say like top 5 dinosaurs or something, and you list your top 5. Well, yeah, sort of stuff. And then sometimes the comments are shown on the videos here. Like as you can see here, random comment from Amazev with no context. It is actually to do with Medieval 2 Total War, believe it or not. And of course, another big mistake all new players make, as Simon says here, not watching MELKOR. I couldn't agree more. Hope you've enjoyed, hope to see you in my next top 5. Please do subscribe for more, and goodbye.